just for the record, my song, like Take Me Out, will be at the end when I die. But suddenly, I opened my eyes, you know?
Hey.
I wasn't dead.
This is D99.
Amigos de D99, bienvenidos. Mi nombre es David Flores. El día de hoy estoy muy contento, estoy feliz porque me encuentro con una de las bandas que ya tiene muchísimos años de trayectoria. Por supuesto que son importantes, los conocemos su nombre. And it's crazy to think that 20 years ago, you guys, welcome, first of all, to Monterey. How are you guys?
Really good, thanks.
It's,
yeah, very well.
Like I say, it's crazy to think that 20 years ago, your first album, you know, your self-titled album came out.
Yeah, it's crazy for us as well. It seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
Yeah, really. I feel like I'm 23 still. So.
What do you think is that thing that has changed during 20 years?
I mean, so many things have changed. Yet so many things seem to have stayed the same. Because when you go on stage and you play, it's exactly the same thrill, you know. And it feels both like the world has changed and stayed exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, I still get excited about music in the same way, and I still get excited about playing shows. So yeah, I mean, some things haven't changed. Yeah.
Probably the nerves or like the butterflies on the stomach is the same, right?
You know, I think the one thing that's changed is like the nerves are still the same, but I used to be terrified of the nerves. Now I love the nerves. Like over time, I learned how to kind of like enjoy it in the same way that, you know, when people do extreme sports, like if they go parachuting or snowboarding or jumping off cliffs or whatever, you learn to seek out the thrill and the buzz of it. And that's the way I see performing now. It's like, I look forward to that. I look forward to the adrenaline.
Yeah. For you guys, what is like that energy that you get from people on stage, you know?
It's indescribable. It's like nothing else I've ever experienced in life. You know, it's how would you describe it?
It's energizing. I think, particularly with Mexican crowds, Mexican crowds like to participate in the show, and they really go for it, and that feeds the band. It feeds the musicians on stage, and not every country's like that. And so, yeah, it is very very energizing. They're a very generous audience. Yeah. Like I have very very fond memories of standing on stages in Mexico, like the Pepsi Center, for example, in Mexico City stands out for me, and that was just like I'm feeling quite emotional, but with the response that we get, you know, from our Mexican fans.
I also think it makes you feel alive. I think you feel there's no way of feeling as alive as you do when you're on stage. It's the most alive you can possibly feel. And
Bob, Alex, I always want to say this because as a Mexican, I feel myself very passionate about music, you know, and this is like the people, the energy is, like you said, it's so crazy and different here in Mexico. What do you think is like the best thing that happened to you here in Mexico?
I mean, meeting Mexicans was the best thing. I think you're right. There's a real unabashed passion for music here in Mexico. Some places, especially bigger cities, people can try to be too cool about their attitude to music. Kind of thing like, I don't want to let other people know that I'm into this. And I never liked that. I've always been open and honest about my response, emotionally, generally, but particularly to music. And it's the one thing I have a lot of respect for people in Mexico generally for. It's like how open they are with their emotions, and especially with music.
Yeah, you feel free, you know, it's music, and sometimes we don't have that easy access for a band like you know, come to our city. You know, we try to enjoy it as much as we can.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we've been coming here for 20 years. We knew the first show that we played here, we knew there was a good relationship with everybody here. That's why we keep coming back.
And also, you're coming back with some of my other favorite band, which is the Killers. You guys are opening for them. Yes. How do you feel about that?
It's great. We've known those guys for 20 years. Our first albums came out at the same time together. Yeah, we've seen them for years, and Brandon and Ronnie are nice guys, so it's cool. And also, I think there's a crossover between our fans. You know, like I think if you're a fan of the Killers or a fan of FRANZ FERDINAND, you're probably going to like the other band.
So, Bob, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable with this question, but back in those days, the Killers and FRANZ FERDINAND, was there such like a competition between you guys?
I didn't really feel much of a rivalry.
Music?
We're from such different places. You know, they're from Las Vegas and we're from Glasgow. I mean, I didn't really feel a rivalry. It was just a very exciting time that there were like-minded people on the other side of the world making their music, and us making our music, and then playing the similar festival stages. You know, it was. No, I didn't feel. Did you feel?
No, I've never felt rivalry within music. I've never felt like it's a competition. I love hearing a record and thinking, that's great, you know, like I like that. And also, there used to be a trend amongst particularly British bands, I hate to say, of bands slagging each other off, like criticizing each other. I never liked that, you know, like if you do your thing and I don't like it, I don't need to talk about it, you know, that's fine. And if you're doing something great, then good on you, that's great.
Yeah, I ask this because back in the day, you know, bands like The Killers, like you guys, were starring, and it was like a fun, you know, path to music, you know, and it was like a cool genre, like today. So nowadays, you are coming back together again in a concert. What do you expect for tonight?
I think the energy levels are going to be astonishing.
Yeah, the shows we've played with them so far have been amazing, and yeah, excited to come and bring it to Monterey. Again, it is a large part of it is the audience that make the show. Yeah. So yeah, and we've got high expectations because we've played shows in Monterey before. We know what the crowds are like. So yeah, high expectations.
So you've been in Mexico. You're coming to Monterey. You're coming to Querétaro too.
Yes.
You're basically on tour right now.
We played Guadalajara as well.
Yeah.
We're playing 6 shows in Mexico, which is the most we've ever played in one go. So yeah, it feels like this is like, yeah, we're on tour in Mexico. Yeah.
And also 2025 is going to be a huge year for you guys because you have an album come out.
That's right. The new album's called The Human Fear. There's a song called Audacious, which has been released so far. The other thing that's exciting about tonight is we're going to play some new songs. And so, you know, we're going to play the hits. You're going to play the songs, you know, like Know You Girls or Darker Than Matinee or Take Me Out. You're going to hear them, but we're also going to hear some things that maybe you've not heard before as well.
I want to confess something. If I could make a movie about my life, you know, part of the soundtrack, it will be guys, you.
Oh, really?
Take Me Out. It will be probably Take Me Out. The song, I don't know if in the credits or probably at the beginning or in the middle of the movie, but you guys will definitely be a part of my soundtrack.
When's it coming out?
I mean, probably, I hope in 50 years when I die, you know. But I wanted to.
Oh, you want to get the whole story, right? Yeah. I'd like to think it was soundtracking some great action scene, like maybe a car chase or something like that.
Maybe try and get in some car chases now, so that there's a place for them in the film.
No.
Have you been in many car chases in your life so far?
No, I haven't.
We need to do something
probably
like
in the go-karts, you know, probably in go-karts.
After this interview, we're gonna we'll pick a fight with some police and have a good car chase.
And the best part is that I have to film it because I don't want to do it again, you know. Yes. But you guys, I wanted to ask you, for you guys, if you had the chance to pick a song for a soundtrack of your life, what song would it be?
Soundtrack for your life. That's so difficult, isn't it? My goodness. Yeah.
I mean, it's not fair because I came prepared, you know.
That's right.
Are we going for like? I mean, if we're going to go for end credits, then I'm gonna go for Famous Blue Raincoat because I'm quite that's the energy I think that I'll have by the ending credit energy. It's one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Alex?
All I can think of is obscure Greek songs that you're not going to know, so I'm not going to say one of them.
But I can Google it and I will put it in the video.
Let's choose. No, I want to have Ghost Town by the Specials.
Okay.
I'll tell you why, because when I was a kid when that song came out, and it just affected me so much. I loved that song, and it's one of those songs that made me want to be in a band.
Okay.
You know, like the Specials seemed like such a gang. You know, like to be in the Specials seemed like a really cool thing to do. And being in a band is really cool. You are in a gang, and it feels great to be there with everybody else. And I think that song was probably the realization for me of something that I wanted to do. So maybe that's a good soundtrack.
Nice. Well, I will search it up, and I will listen to it, and I will keep that in mind. And just for the record, my song, like Take Me Out, will be at the end when I die. But suddenly, I opened my eyes, you know?
Hey!
I wasn't dead, so...
It's like the end, question mark.
Yeah, like the end of Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
So, guys, back to the album, The Human Fear. Tell me the secret behind the title. Because I know it's kind of a... Like I said, it's human. We all have fear, and I wanted to know from you guys, what is that experience for you?
Well, you're right. Like we all come across fear in our life. We come across it every day, and fear is what lets you know what your humanity is, lets you know who you are, because we all have the same fears, but we all respond to them in different ways, and that shows us our personality. But fear is not necessarily a negative thing. Right. Think of all the good things you do in your life that involve overcoming fear, like asking somebody out on a date or riding on a roller coaster.
Yeah. I mean, experiencing fear, it reminds you you're alive, you know? And I think that's what our music does. What I want our music to do is like, you know, it's to make you feel alive. And like Martin Creed, the artist, often compared running being the opposite of being dead. But I think that dancing and music is the opposite of being dead. And so, yeah, I just want human fear, yeah, it's an acknowledgement that you're alive still.
Nice. In my experience, when I was in school, I couldn't get in front of the audience because I wasn't able to talk, you know. And now look at me, you know, I'm in front of the camera, and that was the fear that I had back in college.
That's amazing. And do you find that you get a thrill and you feel more alive because you've overcome that fear? Yeah. You know who you are and you've achieved something because of that.
And it's something that I wasn't ready to do. Somehow I pushed myself into it.
That's amazing.
Like,
I love that. I think you've caught the essence of the album there perfectly. That's and also even for us, it's the same thing with going on stage. It's quite a terrifying thing to do, to go in front of, like we were talking about earlier, in front of thousands of people, you know. And then, but when you do it, when you overcome that fear, oh, it's glorious.
You still have the fear.
I feel, oh yeah, yeah, but it's hard to separate it from the excitement, really. And it's a similar kind of thing in your stomach, you know, before you walk on stage, especially, you know, playing like these huge shows in Mexico that we've been playing. There's that kind of, oh, you know, I really try to savor it as well, because it's, you know, it's a special feeling, you know.
Yes, I think that's the secret of fear as well. It's to be unafraid of the fear, to enjoy facing up to it. You know, that's what. Yeah, that's how you.
Yeah, you know, the fear is always going to be there.
Yes, exactly.
You guys, thank you so much for your time. It was so nice chatting with you. I'll see you tonight because I'm going to be there.
Great.
So excited to see you guys and the Killers, of course. So we're going to be ready to 2025, you know, because the human fear is going to be out.
Yeah,
so anything you want to say to your Mexican friends?
Well, I can't wait for you to hear the album. I think you guys are going to love it. But more than anything else, I want to say muchas gracias, because our fans here have been so kind, generous, supportive for such a long time. We really appreciate it. We love you guys.
I echo that. Yeah, thank you for all the support for the last 20 years, and here's to 20 more.
Perfecto. Ahí quedó la entrevista con Alex y Bob de Franz Ferdinand. Mi nombre es David Flores y nos vemos en la siguiente a través de D99.
What's up? This is Doja Cat.
Hey, this is Justin Timberlake.
This is SZA. Hey, it's Taylor.
More hits than anyone else.
100% good times
On D99.